What's up, fam? Greetings from Wisconsin. We'll be filming this outside as we are currently doing our General Synod meeting for the Reformed Church of the United States. I want to draw our attention this time around to Psalm 55 from the book that we love. And we're going to be continuing our brief exposition of the Psalms of David, which I've entitled Soul Music for When You're in a Funk, for our soul care ministry here at RCLA Wilmington. And today we're going to be asking the question, what does one do with a fearful, restless heart? And if you've ever asked yourself that question, this message is for you. So Psalm 55 says, beginning at verse 1, "Give ear to my prayer, O God, and do not hide yourself from my supplication. Attend to me and hear me. I am restless in my complaint. I moan noisily because of the voice of the enemy, because of the oppression of the wicked. For they bring down trouble upon me, and in wrath they hate me. My heart is severely pained within me, and the terrors of death have fallen upon me. Fearfulness and trembling have come upon me, and horror has overwhelmed me. So I said, oh, that I had wings like a dove. I would fly away and be at rest. Indeed, I would wander off and remain in the wilderness. I would hasten my escape from the windy storm and tempest. Destroy, O Lord, and divide their tongues, for I have seen violence and strife in the city. Day and night they go around it on its walls. Iniquity and trouble are also in the midst of it. Destruction is in its midst. Oppression and deceit do not depart from its streets, for it is not an enemy who reproaches me, then I could bear it. Nor is it one who hates me, who has exalted himself against me, then I could hide from him. But it was you, a man my equal, my companion and my acquaintance. We took sweet counsel together and walked to the house of God in the throng. Let death seize them, let them go down alive into hell, for wickedness is in their dwellings and among them. As for me, I will call upon God, and the Lord shall save me. Evening and morning and at noon I will pray and cry aloud, and he shall hear my voice. He has redeemed my soul in peace from the battle that was against me, for there were many against me. God will hear and afflict them, even he who abides from old, because they do not change, therefore they do not fear God. He has put forth his hands against those who were at peace with him. He has broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords. Cast your burdens on the Lord, and he shall sustain you, and he shall never permit the righteous to be moved. But you, O God, shall bring them down to the pit of destruction. Bloodthirsty and deceitful men shall not live out half their days, but I will trust in you. This is the word of the Lord. And we just ask, Father, that you would bless this time together as we examine briefly this 55th Psalm, very special Psalm. And I've titled the message, The Talk from the Tower of Terror. The Talk from the Tower of Terror. And so here, the image that David gives us is of a chaotic city as a result of the rebellion of his son Absalom, and also the betrayal of his friend Ahithophel. And now the city is pictured as chaotic, like being tossed to and fro in a storm, the way our lives find themselves to be many times. And you know, when I think of the picture of a destroyed city by storm, by tsunami, you know, you think of all the idols that people trusted in floating to the bottom of the ocean, the cell phones, the money, the glory, the war items, the guns, everything that I think people trusted, just floating down to the bottom, and it couldn't help them from the destruction that came. And so we are, in our own society, starting to see idols fail. You know, people trusted in politics, and look at it, we can't trust politicians on either side. You know, we trusted in money, and we see how fast money comes and goes. We're seeing idols fall right before our eyes, and yet we still trust in them, which is the sad part. We still trust in phones, money, sex, politicians, drugs to numb ourselves. And so I don't know who needs to hear this time around, but the reality is that our youth are falling away from truth, from everything that we can think of, Parents are burned out, pastors are falling and quitting, politicians are failing, churches are splitting. And the reality is that we need to come to terms with the fact that everything that we trusted in doesn't work the way it promised. All of these idols don't do for us what they promised us, and we're seeing it right before our eyes. Now, here in the text again, David is lamenting over the chaos that he's experiencing from betrayal, etc. And so what I want to teach from this psalm, or my tattoo for the heart, is this: when terror devours your soul, God calls you not to flee, but to fall on his covenant care. Okay. And now I want to break this down in 3 parts. Number 1, we'll look at the terror screaming in your soul, verses 1 through 8. 2, the treachery roaring in the city, 9 through 15. And then lastly, the truth singing over the chaos, okay, which is 16 through 23. And so beginning with the first point, terror screaming in the soul, verses 1 through 8. Here, David calls fear an invader. Fear is an invader. It comes in and it takes over, and it makes your soul a battleground. They say it's not the water around the ship in the storm, but the water that gets in that matters. And so what is getting inside of you right now that is causing that fear and trembling? David here goes from trouble to trembling to terror, because it's a disordered world that he lives in and that we live in. You know, and we experience the exact same thing. We live in a fallen world, marred by sin, the fall. And because of that, it's possible for even Christians to experience the worst type of pain that will make you collapse. And that's where David is at. He's like, he goes from, again, from trouble to trembling to terror. And then he finally climaxes and says, man, I wish I could just run away. And we try to do the same thing. We try to escape reality with different habits and destructive things that are just destructive habits. And so here, the question that we have to ask ourselves is, what is it that is troubling the soul and screaming and begging for relief? What are we trying to escape from? What is it that is terrifying us inwardly? It's not what's outside. It's taking place inside of us. So remember, we have in our own world, in our own situations, we have the terror, the trembling, the trouble. But are you trusting in God's covenant care? Is his mercy and grace enough for you? Number 2, the treachery roaring in the city, again, 9 through 15. The city's the same. So he's got the inward trouble and chaos, but outside everywhere, everything's falling apart too. Just like in our world, you don't know where to look anymore. The corruption is terrible. Our kids, our schools, our countries, war, you know, everything just seems to be like a horror film, you know, and we're looking for ways to numb the cries that are inside of us, but then outside of us, it reminds us too, and it just causes double trouble. And so here the city is alive with pain, with violence, with chaos. There's Judas kisses everywhere. And the psalmist is just like, the real problem is that it's even happening from the people closest to me, right? The treachery is coming from within. It's like when Julius Caesar said, "Et tu, Brutus, you too, my friend, you're going to stab me in the back too, then I'm just going to fall." And that's how it feels sometimes. Sometimes it just feels like, you know what, man, I just want to quit. I don't care anymore. You know, it's like, it's even coming from my friends, the people that I want to like find refuge in. But that's why God tells us that he is our savior, not our friends, not our family, not anybody. He's the one that we ultimately have to trust in. And so when hearts drift from God, we find the chaotic lives and cities that we find ourselves when our world is chaotic, because hearts are far from God and turning toward idols instead. And all those idols are failing us. And we realize that what the Bible has been saying all along has been true. Don't trust in these things. The strife, the destruction, the oppression, all of it is, you know, the result of trusting in idols. And David finds himself in the midst of that and being betrayed by a friend, which by the way is a foreshadow of Jesus, who was betrayed by Judas. So remember, there's trouble, there's terror, there's trembling, but we have covenant mercy and grace from the Lord. He is our helper. And we have to remember that regardless of what's happening, the idols will fail, but God never will. And then lastly, truth singing over the chaos. So we have something that transcends the pain within and the pain without, something that transcends heaven and earth, the spiritual and material realm, and that is God, the truth that God is our shepherd and that he loves and cares for us. And so here, mercy is like a conquering king that comes into the problem. And David says, look, our king hears us, he delivers us, and he sustains us. And so this is about being upheld by the Lord. When you feel like giving up, it's not about your strength, it's about him holding you up. It's about his grip, not yours. So whatever your storm in life is right now, remember the one who walked on the storm, the one who walked on the water. Okay? And here's your call to action for the head, heart, and hands. Believe that your idols will fall, they will fail, but don't get discouraged because God already said they would. Remember, only God can sustain your problems. And then for the heart, remember to love his presence more than the absence of problems. And then lastly, give prayers of trust, telling the Lord that you believe in him, that you trust in him, and that regardless of what is falling apart around you, his providential care can never fall apart. If you're in the LA area, DM us so you can join us for our group. God bless.